Today we'll continue my printing series of photographs made with the Hasselblad camera 6x6 and Portra 400 in Copenhagen in November 2021. Let's remove the dust cover, and today I need to exchange the lens from my 50mm to my 80mm because I'm printing 120 film again. And the photograph for today is also night shot made with the Hasselblad camera from the tripod with the cable release. So let's find the page with the required strip and inspect the negative. And judging on exposure, you can tell it's a long exposure and long exposure time. And here later in post we can invert the negative and take a look how it should look like in digital. But for now, let's load it in a carrier, remove all the dust and flip the switches for 120 film from 35mm film. I usually don't touch the negative and just use the air to remove all the particles and dust. And because I develop film myself, I usually immediately put it back in the sliver, so it keeps negative free of dust. As usual, I'm using Cinestill circulator and Tethanol chemistry for aerator process with the only two chemicals, which is Color Developer and the Black Sticks. And while the chemistry is heating up to 35 degrees, let's take a look on our negative for today with the 6x6 light box. As always, first step is the focusing and checking if I have enough sharpness on the picture and no movement from the wind or from the handshake. So far it looks good, I see a lot of details and exposure also looks good, so let's start with the color calibrator from the cyan channel and let's find the proper settings with the diffuser filter on f11 on my aperture. Starting with finding the maximum intensity point on the table under the diffused light, I usually adjust channel by channel and finish up with the yellow channel, and after you set up all the channels on the heads, I recheck the intensity of each channel because it can deviate a little bit. So let's remove the sensitive head from the table and carry on with our test printing. And one important point, I always write down the initial settings in my lab book because it will be a crucial point in the next corrections if I will make some. Starting with the 45 seconds of the color developer and constant rotation, we continue it with the putting it back in the bottle and pouring in the bottle the next chemical, it's a Blix Fix, and also rotate this chemistry for 45 seconds in both directions. And because all of the color chemistry is actually meant to work with the roll-to-roll machines, it's highly reusable and you actually can replenish the chemistry with a special chemical kit. But because it's my small darkroom in my bathroom, I'm just using the chemistry up to the end and anyway have a good results and repeatability in my prints. So let's quickly wash out this test print and check our color accuracy. So usually I put it on the wall, apply the squeegee and dry it with a hair dryer. Because I have a correct settings on my color calibrator, I most of the time have a really good initial point, and from there you can actually correct only for preference for colors. So let's tape this print in my lab book and start thinking about the corrections. So what I want to do, I want to check if I can remove this tint from the walls where the bricks should be neutral gray or close to be gray. Using my test printer, so I can move it with this, for example, building in the background and run 10 seconds exposure in each window, and with the pilot light I can turn it on, move it on the same position, but for the next window, turn off the pilot light, open the window and run 10 seconds exposure again, but with the different settings. And as a result, I have an array of the different prints on the same print, and with a quick development run, with exactly the same solution, exactly the same temperature, with the rotation of color developer and the Blix Fix, we get the 6 different prints, which obviously can give you exactly right point for the corrections. And after each development, I dry out my tank. If the drop of water actually gets on your paper, it will slow down the development and you will get the white stripe on top of your print. So let's quickly dry our test print and inspect the result. because I take a step of 5, you can see how slowly and gradually I have a change inside the cyan channel. So our picture moves from the cyan to a little bit reddish color, and I always put the settings close to each window, and because I make a steps of 5, it's quite easy to recalculate back. And for this next final print, I will use the setting on cyan of 55. And running for 10 seconds for full-size paper, I will get the final print. And usually I just need to be careful with my easel, because here I have a framing lines, and sometimes I cannot fit my paper underneath these hooks, especially for the small easel because it's the same construction. Here I have a clamping system. If you close down a little bit the top frame, it's actually lock the paper under these hooks. And because the array for paper is quite flimsy, it's not easy to put the paper directly in the corner. And because it's sometimes point of mistake, I usually work with the safe light and trying to keep my eyes closed before I turn on the light. It helps you to adapt to darkness faster, and actually after a few minutes under this safe light you can clearly see the full room and you can easily navigate. So if you have a color safe light, just give it a time and it will be much easier to navigate. But for now, let's check our final result. Carefully pull it out from the drum and apply a quick rinse with water. You also can use a little bit warm water, it helps to dissolve the rest of the chemistry faster. And after 30 seconds to 1 minute, we can put it on the wall, apply the squeegee, and fully dry our print. So I have a little bit warm evening print, and I really like the mood what it's creating. I don't really want to correct for the yellow, maybe it's too much, but I like the overall warmth of this picture and the temperature of the lights. So let's compare our results. And the first thing what you can notice is this building here, it's actually completely normal color at the moment, and it's not cyanish blue color. And also what is important for me, this bolt should be close to the white, and before it was completely cyan. So I'm really happy with this print for today, and thank you for watching.